Want to ship a gun, want to make sure it gets there, and you don't want to break any laws. This is Alan with Quarter Horse Arms, and in this podcast I want to talk about how to do things like ship firearms and ammunition. So let's start with firearms. There are four big carriers, FedEx, UPS, US Postal Service, and DHL. DHL will not ship firearms or ammunition at all. That leaves three other carriers. FedEx, UPS, and the US Postal Service, as of now, will ship both handguns and long guns. And the shipping requirements, are very, very similar, and there's some weird things too. So they kind of contradict each other, and quite frankly, I'm not 100% sure I understand all of it myself. All right, so let's start with packing. A handgun is pretty straightforward. If you have the case that the handgun came in, odds are it will fit into one of the shipping boxes, like the ones that you unfold and pull the self-sticking tape thing. And if there's a bunch of extra space in there, just shove some packing material in it, and then close it up. Now, if it does not have the box, the last thing you want is a gun rattling around. And part of it is just damage, and the other part is, what if the box breaks open? So without a box, what I would do is take bubble wrap and carefully wrap the gun so that all of it is protected. And I would do the same with the magazines. If it has one magazine, obviously you can just leave that in the pistol and hope that the recipient will be smart enough to check the pistol before they pull the trigger. Just as a by the way, it is illegal to ship ammunition with a firearm. They've got to be done separately. As a gun dealer, have I received loaded, chambered, and ready to fire handguns? Yes, I have. And was I happy about that? No, I was not. Okay, so when you go to pack up the gun, you're wrapping it up, bubble wrap, make sure it's not rattling around. I would bubble wrap any extra mags if they're loose. And again, fill the box with extra packing material. Crumpled up newspaper works great. Okay, do not label the box as containing a firearm. That's made clear by the ATF, the Post Office, FedEx, and UPS. You don't want people knowing it's a gun and have them steal it. In fact, when I ship stuff, the return label does not say Quarter Horse Arms. I just use QHA. Now, for example, at the post office, do I have to let them know that it's a gun? Like, especially, they're bright people. They'll figure out when it says shipped to Billy Bob's gun shop. Odds are it's a gun. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. If you're shipping a long gun, if you have the original box and want to ship it with it, put that box inside another box. You don't want somebody going, wow, there's this obviously expensive Browning shotgun in this box that was just loosely taped up. Let me slit the tape, take the gun, I'll tape it back up, and continue shipping the box. So do not label it as a gun either. If it's not in the original box, you can get long boxes that will hold guns. The advantage with a shotgun, though, is, you can basically take the barrel off, wrap the barrel up, and the rest of the frame and receiver separately. Again, wrap them in bubble wrap. Make sure the ends are padded. All right. I may actually use like a piece of foam or styrofoam that I've got laying around, and put bubble wrap around that to hold it all in place. And I do the same thing at the muzzle. The reason for that is things get banged around a lot when they're being shipped. And you don't want to have a gun come in like I did, which is the bolt sticking out of the side of the box and the barrel literally sticking about 6 inches out of the box. So if you pack it well, you're going to fill the box up with extra packing material so it doesn't rattle around. And again, make sure especially the muzzle is well protected. If there's optics on there, take them off. Wrap those up separately, and that includes the mounting rings. Because if the gun gets banged around a lot, those rings can be damaged. So what I would do is wrap up the optics in bubble wrap. If you have the original box, even better. And then bubble wrap that so it fits in there, and if it gets banged around, it's well protected. For a bolt-action rifle, remove the bolt. Obviously, you don't want the bolt coming through the side of the box like I did. And at the same time, you're talking about a relatively critical piece of the rifle. So what I would do is once you take it off, wrap that in bubble wrap and protect it well. They can all fit in the same box. And then seal the box up. Now, if you're shipping stuff, they may ask you, if you're going for insurance, what's in the box. And they may, in fact, say, can we prove that it's in there? In other words, you're shipping an expensive rifle or shotgun. And, usually these places like the post office gives you a $50 insurance. Well, it doesn't cut it if you're sending a $3,000 weapon in the mail. And that's okay. You may have to open it up. They'll tape it shut again for you. Not a big deal. Okay, so now let's switch over to how to do it. Well, here's where the laws vary. The FedEx and UPS, or U.S. Postal Service, will only ship from an FFL to another FFL. And especially with the post office, I have to provide, the FFLs, mine and the place it's going. UPS usually has some other document you need to fill out. But as people get more and more anti-gun and become more sticklers for procedure, you're seeing more and more places that you can only ship it from one gun dealer to another. Okay, so here's where the law gets weird. According to the ATF, you can ship a gun anywhere within your state, person to person. So, I'm here in Snow Camp, North Carolina. I want to ship a gun, out to Asheville. It's still in North Carolina. I'm not required to do anything other than box it up and ship it. And if I'm shipping across state lines, it has to go gun dealer to gun dealer. But I'm not done with the rules yet. And again, here's where it gets weird, or even weirder. If you're going to, let's say, hunt in another state and do not want to be traveling with the guns, like, you're flying, you're allowed to ship the gun across state lines to somebody else. And you would address it to yourself, and the label should say, in the care of blank. And that person, theoretically, should not open the box, and you should when you get there. They should keep it stored in a safe place. But then you're hit with the, I can only ship gun dealer to gun dealer. So that's another weird part. And then the final one that's also weird is, let's say you ship a gun to a gun dealer or the manufacturer for repair or gunsmithing work. You can, or not you, but the person or the dealer or the manufacturer that did the repair can ship it directly back to your house. And that includes class 3 items like a silencer. But then you still have the carrier rules to deal with. So a lot of places, just ship it unlabeled, and they may not even have it insured, but since it's going through a tracking system, it's fairly easy to find. So I'll leave you to muddle through that part of it. And again, my fancy disclaimer is that I'm not an attorney. I'm not a shipping expert. These are just things that I've gone through. Shipping to California, I do that. The California stuff, it's a pain in the butt. It's not a big deal. And then let's talk about ammunition. Okay, the two that ship ammunition are FedEx and UPS. And from what I've looked at, obviously the powder would be regulated and the bullets would be regulated, as are the fully assembled cartridges. Okay. The old style, for those of you that ordered ammunition, it used to be shipped with a label called ORM-D, ORM-D, or other regulated materials. They did away with that a couple years ago, and they now have, hazardous materials regulations, or HMR, and the heading is now under a consumer commodity limited quantity. So it's kind of like one of those, diamond warning signs, and it's white with, the upper and lower diamond ends or triangles kind of colored in a little bit. Still has ammunition. It's still, recorded, but it's not labeled ORMD. Okay, so here are the rules for shipping ammo. This is UPS and FedEx. They both may give you a service charge for shipping hazardous materials. You need to find out before you do ship it. Some gun dealers and manufacturers obviously already have contract agreements with the shippers so that they can ship those materials. So typically less than 50 caliber or no larger than 50 caliber. So 12.7 millimeter and nothing larger than an 8 gauge shotgun. So you can ship a fair amount. Trying to ship the 20 millimeter explosive shells, probably not going to happen. The package weight cannot exceed 66 pounds. And I'm going to go with OSHA or, union contract or whatever, or all of the above, so that the delivery guys don't get hurt trying to move this stuff. I mean, you guys are, for the most part, gun owners. Ammunition is expensive. You also know it's very heavy. So keeping that in mind, the boxes less than 66 pounds has to be double walled, like a box within a box. And if you're getting it from a manufacturer, it is not a big deal. Usually they're already double boxed, and the ammunition's in its own, boxes of 50 or whatever anyway. But double corrugated or plastic boxes. And from there, you can get it shipped. Shipping it yourself, I'm not 100% sure why you would want to, unless you've, been sitting on 50,000 rounds of ammunition and, decide you can do away with some of it. Now, for most of this stuff, you cannot go to like a UPS store to ship it. Some of them require that you go directly to a FedEx facility or an actual UPS facility. So depending on where you live, that might impact it. Now, if you're buying ammunition, can you have it shipped to your house